Hello, everyone. This is Angelo Sisco of Alpha Hippie. On today's episode of Ever Forward Radio, we're going to talk about what every man needs to go pro.
3, 2, 1.
Team barefoot, blue jeans, black shirt checking in.
Dude, this is the only way to roll.
It's funny, when I was getting ready for this earlier, I had a remote interview, and then I was like, well, normally I would just throw on joggers and a whatever t-shirts top of the drawer. But I was like, I should probably put on pants for Angelo. It should get official. Let me get out of the norm and look like a human being today.
You want to laugh? I said the same thing to myself, dude. I was like going to just grab like a pair of Vioris and like run in the house I was like, I'm going to put on some proper jeans.
Well, you look great.
Thank
Proper
you.
as hell, man.
And just drive up here today and have a good time. So it's perfect.
Dude, well, I'm so glad you're here. Welcome.
Oh, God.
That's beautiful.
I'm so grateful to be here, bro.
And I had such a great time down in San Clemente a couple months ago, and on the Alpha Hippie show. And you got such a great community, such a great tribe down there, and of guys, of men. And that's kind of the main focus of the work that you're doing, which I resonated with so much, of just addressing what it means to be a man, and not in the typical way that I think a lot of guys or a lot of people think of just the typical machismo, typical this, typical that. And it's just like almost rewriting the narrative and just breaking down a lot of what doesn't serve not only men, but society. Am I getting close there?
Yeah. I was thinking about this, and when I was growing up, I had, my dad wanted me to be a lawyer or whatever it is, but bottom line, I just wanted to be a man. Like, to me, being a man is already cool enough, right? Like, isn't it exciting to know that you are a man and really believe that deep down inside of you? And when you have that, for me, it means you have self-esteem, which is the reputation you keep from yourself. It's actually completely different than confidence.
I agree.
Okay?
I agree.
And so when you know that you have done the work and really in your heart believe that you are a man, the majority of suffering will be gone, because you will not be comparing yourself. You won't be doubting yourself as much. You won't be your criticizer as much. A lot of these things get removed. And so I love the importance of just saying, I'm a pro man, and I want to help other men go pro.
Yeah.
Like, let's just be pro men that have integrity, grace, gratitude, and let's walk this life. And I am willing to bet that we're going to be at a better place than all these other roles and things that we've put on pedestals. Just be a man, a great man, and then everything else will follow that.
Let's start, if we could, at something that stood out to me the most in there, and that's self-esteem. And I think for a lot of guys out there, and myself included, I go back to being a young teenager, leaving home, leaving nest, finding myself, stepping into my first career, stepping into all these, next level identities. At the core, I had to really develop that self-esteem first of myself before I could step into whatever role I was trying to fill. So if you could walk us through self-esteem,
Sure.
What is it? Why do you think men lack it? And how can we cultivate more of it?
For sure. Personally, I don't think it's just a man issue, but obviously with my field, it's more, I gear towards that. But self-esteem is the reputation you keep for yourself. And it's really how you hold yourself and believe who you are in this world. It's beyond just skill, which confidence is. Like, I'm confident I could scramble eggs.
Mm-hmm.
But believing I'm worthy, removing self-doubt, removing, your inner critic. All of these other things have to do with your self-esteem, having integrity, showing up, doing what you say you're going to do. This inner accountability, self-accountability, for me is beautiful. And it's the most freeing, liberating thing that someone could do, especially a man, where when we're studying of masculine and feminine energy, one of the great parts about it is advancing, moving us forward as a culture, right? And in order to really move things forward with a positive direction, if you lack self-esteem, you are moving things forward in a poor direction. And so when we're looking at our leaders and who we want to be in the White House, who you want to be as a mayor, who you want to be as a person, if your self-esteem isn't in check, and you have done the work to actually ensure that it is. And what's really important about self-esteem, no one really knows about it besides you. It's your own scoreboard.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it the most, is it's one of those things where someone can't validate it for you. Someone can't give you self-esteem.
No one can even really probably see self-esteem level.
Right.
It's an internal gauge.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that to me is what lacks the most in people, and that's especially men. And then the world, when you lack self-esteem, in my opinion, the world beats you up more because the world is our projection. So wherever you are lacking in self-esteem is more than likely of what your subconscious is looking for evidence to validate that story. So if I doubt myself, I am more than likely going to find a reason to doubt other people. If I don't feel I'm worthy, I don't believe that I'm going to be worthy of praise, compliments, and all these things from other people. And then you could imagine now the ripple effect just of one of a human being, but then collectively what that really will look like.
So then where does self-esteem begin to develop? Can we look to our outside world to help grow an internal source, or do we have to internally work on it to then project it out to our outside world?
Whew. What a fabulous
chicken or the
question.
egg, right?
All right, great. So really, self-esteem begins with nurturing, or what some may call feminine energy, which I often refer to as grace, because you learn how to treat yourself from your mother. So your mother is you. So when you come out of the womb, you do not believe as a baby that you are separate from your mother. So more than likely, how you treat yourself will look like, unless you've done some work to alter it naturally, will be how your mother treated herself.
While she was pregnant with you, or just in general?
In general, in life.
Wow.
You learn how to treat yourself the same way your mother did. I don't care if you're a boy, girl, whatever. That is the inward energy, that feminine energy is from your mother. That means the self. Okay, so if your mother was, took care of everyone and was so selfless that she never took care of herself, that she didn't find herself worthy to do that. Your mother was a people pleaser and she gave, but never learned how to receive. That is more than likely how you treat yourself. And then what you learn that, right? And that's a lot of inner dialogue and thoughts.
I'm having some right now. Yeah, you're taking me back, man.
Right. Like we are very much like our mothers from that period. And then what we learn from our fathers, or that male role figure, is the outside world. Because what your father or whatever masculine relationship that you first receive is a representation of the outside world and how you will relate to the outside world. That's why more than likely when you see a boy, they model their father's behaviors. And that's why boys or girls learn from modeling. So that's why most girls, they marry their fathers.
Mm-hmm.
Or someone that exhibits some sort of behavioral dynamic of their father. Whether they want it or not, good dad, bad dad, really doesn't matter here. Because this is before you had those judgments about your parents anyway.
Exactly. Which was going to go into my next question about good and bad. So I think someone on the journey to becoming a better man, just learning about the man that they are, step one is awareness and everything, right? So maybe they develop awareness that actually I didn't really like my dad. I didn't really like my mom, or the relationship that I'm kind of ruminating over, I'm realizing is not ideal or doesn't serve the man that I think that I am or want to be. So let's go with that angle first, man.
Sure.
So if we're realizing that these models that we had, the mother, the father, aren't ideal in our opinion, where do we go from there? What's the work from that?
So here's how I suggest working through step by step how to develop in this process. First, we all have an opportunity to become aware. This is step one that oftentimes gets overstepped in my book. Is there are opportunities for awareness. Some of them are very small, and some of them are very big, like an epiphany. Some people get in near-death experiences, and then that was their opportunity for awareness.
Yeah.
Okay, that's such a big moment that people don't see.
I think man or woman,
right.
And any, however you look at yourself, I mean, that's a universal, I think, human aspect.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is not a gender biased subject. I am just better at relating stories, personal, and how I view the world because I am a man. I don't know what it's like to be a girl and go through a menstrual cycle. Like I've never felt that, so I try to not talk about things that I haven't felt.
You can't relate to,
right?
I think that's good.
Yeah,
we should all maybe adopt a little bit more of that.
Yeah, because intellectually, I could read a book and understand in my brain what it's like to be pregnant. Yet, would I ever be able to feel, which to me is the ultimate idea of understanding, right? Some things you just have to feel to really understand and not think you understand it. And no, the answer is no. I will biologically, this is where we are, right? And so there's an opportunity for awareness. Some people, most, don't hear that opportunity till something majorly happens in their life, because they're usually stuck in repetitive cycles with their environment and relationships, that things often, like with a partnership and a marriage, usually the symptom may be different, yet you fight about the same thing. Mm-hmm. Although people get caught up in the symptom, those are always opportunities for awareness, yet we don't give them that thing because we're too pissed about the whatever.
Yeah, you folded the towel in a trifold, and I asked you a bifold. It's like, that's not really what you're pissed about.
Correct.
You're not listening to your partner. You're not hearing them.
Right. And that's why oftentimes in just overall relationship dynamics, someone cheating on someone's the straw that broke the camel's back, but if you play the relationship out, they've been playing the same song. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's just trust.
Many times.
Trust and integrity have finally been broken enough that there's a big enough action, that a big enough sign of this isn't working to happen. But you could see these things very early on.
Sure.
Except the emotional charge usually isn't big enough for people to want to make a change, or they're not really sure. Mm-hmm. So opportunity for awareness, okay? Or opportunity to become a witness so you could have awareness, okay? Then the next thing is awareness. Now, like we said before, now some people may, and even you brought this up, I exhibit these behaviors like my mother. Write them down and just look at them and become aware of them. Let them sink in, and then pay attention to when they show up in your life. What trigger puts me into some energy or things that really aren't great for, like, my mother?
Okay.
So my mother, I'll give a real perfect example. My mother I have a beautiful relationship with this woman. I am mama's boy till I die, right? Where my mother often has struggled in life is having self-respect. I, too, have been used in certain ways and have allowed myself, I'm not giving it to someone else, but I've allowed myself to be used or exploited by other people because I have felt times of lack of self-respect and unworthiness for myself. Okay? It's honest. How did I learn that? From being with my mother, because she often has things like that. And now she's the woman that has lacking health conditions. She's overweight because she has done things to serve other people because she thought serving herself would mean saying no to that, bad
That's
there.
being selfish.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So then there's that dynamic. So then you start becoming aware of these triggers and cycles in there. Now, once there's awareness, you could move to acceptance. Acceptance, for how I define it, is feminine energy at its finest. Okay?
Which you described earlier as grace.
Grace.
Yeah.
Okay. And grace to me is loving acceptance. So, for me, I'm an Italian culture, right? Doesn't matter what was going on in my life, what the problems were. I went to see my mother. I don't care if I just told her I stabbed 8 people outside on the stoop. She's like, don't worry about it. What do you want for dinner? I love you. You're a beautiful kid, right?
You can do no wrong.
Right. Completely right. And that's beautiful. We love that energy. It's amazing.
Beautiful. There's nothing more forgiving or just
right.
Yeah.
Because
you just want to bathe in it.
Yeah, we want to bathe in it. And it's good to take a bath for a short period of time. But if you bathe in it too long, you don't make any changes. You just sit still. And oftentimes, some of us need time in that stillness to actually work through true acceptance, because now we're starting to see that the people in your movie are only there, like I was, because I didn't respect myself. So I was casting people in the movie of my life, and that took time for me to heal with, brother, because now, once I have awareness, I can begin acceptance. Yet acceptance doesn't really, you start seeing the cues, but then real acceptance isn't there. So you are able to take responsibility for the whole thing. I casted certain people in the movie of my life.
Oh, for sure.
Because I wasn't worthy.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have self-respect. And for a lot of people to go like this instead of this is already something that needs to take time. There's no timeline on this. And that's first. Okay, so there it is. You have to accept it. But then you want grace. You want to lovingly accept it. I spent this time in this 3-year abusive relationship. I love that I did it, because without it, I wouldn't be who I am right now.
Of course. Yeah.
And that is grace. When you lovingly accept even the bad things, even the parts of your body that you might not like. Right? How many people, I take a picture here. This is my good side. Why do you think you have a good side and a bad side? Let's start there.
Touche.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm on the left tilt. Let me get over it.
Yeah.
Why? Why are you criticizing yourself that way? Why can't you just love all your sides and smile pretty because you're with people you love? Right? Like that sort of thing. Then once we've established that, what it's really good to do is to move into like that deeper form of grace, that loving acceptance, which then turns into a form of gratitude. You're glad these things. You're not even accepting of them.
Yeah.
These happened for me, not to me.
Yeah.
That's the 2-4, right? Like that is the ultimate sign of gratitude and divine energy. Is they didn't happen to me, they happened for me.
Which I found has been one of the most, not only just transformational steps, I guess, in awareness and being a man, but just the one that just blows your mind the most. Angelo, have found myself just thinking out loud and laughing. Like, I cannot believe that I'm saying I am glad for this. I am grateful for this thing, this horrendous thing that, looking back at the time, broke me.
Yes.
And I'm sure every guy listening can relate that you've been there of just, how am I ever going to get over this breakup? How am I ever going to get through this injury? How this other guy got the promotion, this other girl got the promotion to me, and you think it's the end of your world, and you just spiral down.
Yes.
But then later on, by doing the things you're talking about, I looked back and just, I can't believe I gave that attention, or I can't believe I didn't see this gift sooner. It blows my mind how much gratitude I have for it when just not that long ago, I was on the other end of the spectrum.
Yes.
It's wild.
And that's how this shift begins. And then from there, what's really important is to develop, still in that inner feminine side, is what I like to call your inner Adrian, those of you that know Rocky. But there is a part in all of us, especially men, that often goes underappreciated or misunderstood, is we must develop our own feminine affirmer.
What do you mean by that?
So in a movie like Rocky, okay, so I like to give Rocky one that's, if you don't know Rocky, please watch it.
Yeah, please pause the podcast.
If you're one of those like Cree generation, hit pause, watch Rocky, you'll understand what I mean. But there's an inner affirmer there. I just don't remember her name, but Adrian. Okay, and what the female affirmer does is, you got this, baby. Win, Rocky, win. In part 4, she tells him at the top of the stairs, you can't win. And then that ruins Rocky. He doesn't know what to do. He goes out of he gets in the Lamborghini. He just can't handle it. He goes to Russia. His training stinks. But then when Adrian shows up at the house, she goes, I'm with you no matter what. And then Hearts on Fire plays, the greatest training montage in Rocky history.
Not
He's
wrong.
running up, all in there. And so it's really important, though, that we learn as men to develop that inside of us. Because oftentimes what happens is we get it from our mothers or that nurturing presence for nothing, for free. Okay.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. What a great point.
Okay. We get it there. And so we often don't learn how to give it to ourselves. So we are born through a dependency.
We have no appreciation for it.
Right.
We haven't earned it. It's just like you said, it was given to us for free.
Right.
Wow. Yeah.
And then we go try to find a mate to give it to us. And then when that mate leaves, has children, they evolve, whatever. Right? We shouldn't be looking for a new mommy. We should develop our own mommies inside of us. We need to become our own mommies and daddies. And so back to that, Adrian, you give yourself that sort of energy. So like for me, the favorite way I like to do this is through music.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you.
So I love to work out, full disclosure, to feminine energy bias songs.
What does that sound like?
So if I was going to work out really hard, when I was in like the CrossFit world and I wanted to do like a 3 or 4 minute just ball busting all out workout, I would put on Simply the Best by Tina Turner.
What?
For real.
No shit.
But when you listen to the words, she says, I'm stuck on your heart. Because that's what the female is. The feminine is your heart. I'm stuck on your heart. I hang on every word you say. Tear us apart. Baby, I'd rather be dead. Because that's what you want. You want to know that your heart is with you. And when you need it from a woman outside of you, don't get me wrong, you could prefer it. But if you need it, if you depend on it, it is not healthy. I'm in love with my wife. She's my soulmate. There is no one I want to bring the bacon home more for and have her pat me on the head and tell me that she's proud of me. Obviously, it's not like that. We're married, but that idea,
paint
right?
a great picture here,
right? You want that, we do. But if I need it and she's not there to give it to me, I suffer, and it's not her job to give it to me. And so a lot of men have a hard time doing that. And that's why, like, I play songs like that. I play music like that. And a lot of men at first are like, yeah, what do you mean? Let me tell you what, every closet straight man, I don't care what you say, there's a song that has a chick singing it, and you're just like, yeah, baby. Or, what's another one I like?
Guilty pleasure for me. I used to rock out all the time was Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
Like her, I think it was like her first album or her second album for me was just like, and true to my nature, I've always latched, whether it's heavy metal, hip hop or Gaga, it's the lyrics that hit me the first in the most profound way. And I mean, I don't think anyone would disagree. I mean, the way that she writes songs, it's just to your core.
Yes.
And that's why I think it resonated so much with me. And then of course it doesn't hurt that, they're super catchy, and just, I'd be like bobbing my head in my truck back in Virginia, and Lady Gaga through and through.
There it is. So Lady Gaga has a song called You and I.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I listened to it.
A great piano song.
Great song, right? And there's a lyric in it that says, there's something about knowing when it's right. And that's like your heart, your intuition, your feeling.
The knowing.
And that's the inner
knowing.
affirmer.
Yeah.
Because then Rocky knew in his heart that he was going to crush Drago, right? He rips up that newspaper clipping on the mirror because his heart knew it. And no wonder the training montage song is Hearts on Fire.
Yeah, really. There you go.
Okay, so just to like really get people to understand this, because it's in every great hero journey. These are things that happen, male, female, but just parts that need to happen. And so that inner affirmer comes. Then we shift over to a masculine support.
Okay.
And so what masculine support often is a big brother, a mentor, a tribe of like-minded men that support you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what support in masculine energy is calling up. What I mean by that is calling out is rather degrading and shaming, but calling someone up to be greater, more great, better, and that could even be a slap in the face from a real good friend, right? That just wake up.
Yeah, it's the source, and you could be calling someone out, but I think it's the source and the intention behind the source that is the calling up part that you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
If it comes from love and isn't about deformation of character.
It's not about ego of the other person.
Right. It's just like, Chase, I know you're fucking better than this. And you know you are too. Let's go. Let's do this. Like that iron sharpening iron. That's where Mickey comes in, a corner man. Okay? Great. What happened in Rocky 3 when Mickey died? Rocky crumbled because he had dependency on Mickey. Right. So who needs to really be your own corner man? You. Same thing as me. My favorite way, I put on some music. Get a little, now this is when I go a little crazy, right? I put on, so for me, Watch the Throne is the greatest hip hop album of the 2000s. Yell at me, call me crazy.
It's insane, man.
Okay? And so like you put on Watch the Throne and it's just two kings that know they're kings and just ripping it, right? And for me, you put on No Church in the Wild, illest.
Oh my God, that beat,
right.
It's just so tribal. It's just so
yeah. And then that's that type of frequency that taps into my heart and yours, right? And then you are ready then to take action. Because then that's the ultimate expression of masculine energy, is that we take action. And also too, that's what the beauty of masculine energy is. It gets you out of this standing still position. And that means advancement. It doesn't necessarily mean conquering. It means advancing. So if you are depressed, no matter what gender you are, it begins as feminine energy. To get out of depression, which is trouble with your past, disagreement with the past, moving away from that and actually doing something different that brings you to the present and then can move you forward is how you get rid of depression. It's not by outthinking depression, because that's why you're still stuck on the couch. Not you, but just anyone.
Sure.
That's why you're still stuck on the couch, Jack, is because you're stuck in that toxic femininity cycle going through there. And that is really what healing is. And for me, then, masculine energy looks like integrity. And integrity is trusting yourself. And how do you trust yourself? By constantly delivering with integrity, right? You show up how you say you're going to show up as a professional man.
Yeah.
You take care of your duties, responsibilities, your commitments to yourself, your commitments to others, and then you could recognize yourself by being a king. But if you let your feelings, how you feel that day, all of those things get in your way of your duties, responsibilities, and commitments, you are not a pro at being just a human, let alone or a man.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's really where I'm at right now in my moving through all those things in that way. It's the opportunity for awareness, grace, gratitude, the affirmer, the support, and then you have integrity. Because if you could trust yourself that you're going to take care of business and you know that you're capable of it, life is pretty good.
Yeah.
I would say better than pretty good. Life is amazing.
Yeah.
But if you don't know that 10 seconds to go, you don't want the ball in your own life, you will always fumble. You will never show up for yourself when it matters. You're a father, your kids are screwed. I hate to say that out loud because they don't have the support that they have.
Think of what they're already probably modeling.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then that cascades into a ripple effect of a lot of other things.
Part of what you were talking about there, especially with Kanye and Jay-Z there, and like just these two guys, these two kings, just owning and just putting it out there. I think oftentimes, I mean, Kanye definitely gets a little cocky, but I think oftentimes when us as men or just outside world looks at masculinity and what a man is, there's like a threshold or that it's like, no, this is the line of ownership and responsibility, and this is the line of knowing. But then it's right where cockiness and ego and machismo and just flashiness kind of maybe they kind of coexist a little bit.
Sure.
Would you agree with that, or should we kind of step into a little bit of that? Does that, in a healthy way, can it feed rewriting this kind of masculine narrative of owning who you are, owning your accomplishments, owning the knowing, owning all of this stuff to really fully step into just that power as a man?
Yes. So here's my example of it. I believe that people should peacock a lot more. I don't believe that people do not peacock or recognizing yourself to me is peacock.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I recognize myself, celebrate myself. I show myself that I'm grateful for me to show up. It is absolutely one of the most paramount things to be happy. And we are a part of a society that self-deprecation, because we don't want to be separate than the collective, has been a good thing. Jordan Peterson sometimes talks about the lobsters or the crabs. They pull themselves down in the bucket because they don't want to see someone do that. Oftentimes, the people that pull people down for peacocking are just people that don't see it in themselves. Because anyone that's really doing it, like if you came up to me and you were like, Angelo, I've been doing this, this, and this, and you're really passionate, I'd be like, go get it, king. Keep running and gunning.
Which I'm pretty sure we've had a couple conversations like that. Yeah.
I love it when I see people shaking their tail feathers, really proud of who they are. Good. we need more of those and less of the people that don't want to say that 2020 was a good year for them. Oh, if I say that, someone might be offended. Go to bed. I was not in charge of your experience. This is my experience.
Yes. Yeah.
Take ownership of yours so you don't have to knock down mine.
That's a mic drop moment right there. Go back and rewind a few seconds and listen to that again.
Right? Like, why aren't you proud of it? Like, you used to paint a picture at school and you just wanted to put it on the fridge at home, right? Because you were proud of it. Why shouldn't you be proud of what you contribute or do? Like, we should be proud. We should be a society of proud people.
Is that it? Do you think is that the limiting factor, or perhaps one of the biggest limiting factors that is keeping us from stepping in and owning that moment of peacocking, like you're saying? Is it less the self-esteem, like we're talking about in the beginning? Is it less of how we evaluate our own worthiness, and are we the man, versus outside opinion? We're letting so much of the outside opinion of other people, of society, of other men kind of dictate how much ownership we can actually take of our life.
Very good. Oh, what a great question. Depending on the culture and, just your growing up, oftentimes people say when you're sharing something that you've done well and that you're proud of, is that be humble and stop bragging.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
It has a negative connotation.
I'll be honest, that's been more my upbringing too. I struggle a lot with like fully owning accomplishments.
Yeah.
Because it feels like, no, Chase, shut up, sit down. Be humble. Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? Hogging the room? Who gave you the bell to speak or whatever? And that's the problem, is a lot of our culture has been presented around that. Like, you could go in the bathroom right now and clean the mirror, and you should feel proud of yourself, of how well you clean the mirror, and recognize yourself that there's no streaks on there, and savor in that moment. Why wouldn't you want to be that way? Why wouldn't you want to give yourself that recognition and praise? Why wouldn't you want to share it after you've done it? Look, like if you were a gardener and you had a beautiful garden, wouldn't you want people to see your beautiful work? Like, and really just, come by my house. You have to try one of my tomatoes. They're so delicious. I can't wait to share with you how amazing.
Keyword.
Right? And instead, people want to bottle that up and put that down. And then all of a sudden, everyone's, like you brought up mental health, like we're not even allowed to be, technically, society has not permitted us to actually be happy. Here's a prime example. My wife and I were joking about this. I've been on a 80s and 90s comedy binge lately.
Oh, no shit.
And what I realized is there are not many things that are coming out right now because of how sensitive some people could be about joking.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to laugh. Like, we watched the original Naked Gun.
Oh shit!
Okay, I'm talking
that could never come out
cray
now.
OJ. Okay, like, I mean, just like all of these things. Right. The other day we watched Major League. Like, just
amazing.
These, like, cult classic comics, comedy movies, and we're laughing. And so this idea of like laughter and joy, really, even from an entertainment perspective, it's just a reflection of us, by the way, everyone. We're only creating, writers only writing into the world that they are living.
Yeah, what we think we can get away with.
Right.
Yeah, what's allowed.
Right. And it's just, no, we should laugh. We should be proud of what we do. Right. And because I'm laughing about this doesn't necessarily mean that I believe that something was there that read deeper, right? And this oversensitivity to our words, when the truth is, in life, for me, and I don't know how this could be argued, the only really thing that ever matters at the end of the day is your actions. Say whatever you want, post whatever you want, comment whatever you want. If you're not going to get up and do it consistently, your words are worthless. Don't tell someone you miss them if you could see them. You're silly. You're incongruent. You're not living a life of integrity.
Yeah, what an interesting example, yeah.
Right? How many times do people are like, I miss you? I'm like, well, do you want to get on a FaceTime or Zoom last week? And then you ever have the message just go completely radio silent?
Dude, don't even get me started. That's like, that's honestly, I'm so glad you bring that up. I think this is a really unique way for men to look at like your worth and how you're showing up in the world, and more importantly, how you are contributing to the lives of other people. That's honestly how I've been like filtering out, and not like cutting people off, not to sound harsh, but just filtering out my energy of who gets how much of my energy, and my wife's and my friends is when that happens. Is when we should hang out. I miss you. Haven't seen you in forever. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm free next Thursday at 2 and next Saturday at 10 a.m. And then it's like 2 weeks of nothingness. And just like, are you bullshitting me? Are you actually bullshitting me? Or is it just coincidental that every freaking time it just gets to like, you're saying something that you probably don't really mean.
Right. Yeah. And so for me, I'm a bottom line person. You say something, let's just get to the action.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of the people, like, once I get to the action, you would think, so you could read a text thread, 12:58, 12:59, 1 o'clock, 1:01, 1:15, and like we're flowing, and then you send that 1:15. Did they send the message at 1:01 and just chuck their phone 4 miles? Like their phone, like, right? Isn't that what you're looking at? You're like, okay, where's the bubbles?
Yeah.
Where's the what? We were just bubbling.
Yeah. And then I can like look in your Instagram story and you're just doing nothing.
It's like, come on.
What a tangent that is. But yeah.
No, but that's
so true.
That's the reality. And now when we're looking at society beyond just men, what we're really lacking energetically is a positive, beautiful sense of the masculine, because that is taking action, showing integrity, showing up how you say you're going to. This is what's lacking. You don't believe me? No one trusts anyone anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't care who you voted for. No one would really. Here we go. I tell this to people all the time when they give me their political stance. I go, cool. Biden, Trump, who's watching your kids? Neither. Well, then what the hell? Well, who cares? Right? Like, you don't trust them to watch your kid?
Yeah.
Well, then why would you even tell me who to vote for? You don't really believe in them. You just want to see the other person lose. Well, then you're a loser yourself, because you're not cheering for betterment. You are cheering for someone to lose. You're a loser yourself.
What an interesting perspective. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Like, I automatically do. I'm like, who do you trust to watch your kids? No one. Neither. Oh, well, why would you ever go and, send in your ballot form then?
Yeah.
Like, why would you even entertain this subject if you don't feel that call to being that way? And so what we're lacking in society is a beautiful, positive model of masculine energy. Showing up how we say we're going to show up doesn't mean that you're perfect. Yet the most important thing is being proactive when we don't show up. And that means the second I am driving here from San Clemente and I look at my navigation and we have a 12:30 appointment and it says 12:35, the second I get in that car, I message you, Chase, there is a chance that I may be 5 minutes behind. I'm proactive. I'm prepared. And I help you see that before the incident comes. Because after that, we are reactive. Proactivity, there's a we. Reactivity, there's an eyes. Two eyes,
yes, sir.
Opposition. We're already broken. We already broke.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And this is what this world needs right now. And for me, as a practitioner of this, you only heal this problem one person at a time.
Yeah.
I wish I could just sprinkle a wand, yet here's the thing is, one man being better means that a ripple effect of that, one other man being better, great. That means one more man's a better husband. That means one more man's a better father. Then, as a global tribe, we have more trust. We have more integrity.
Yes.
Right? And that's what we don't have right now in our culture. How many people hit you up on Instagram with the greatest business deals of your life? Okay.
Today?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how much do you spend looking at the opportunity or wondering if you could just trust the person?
Oh, it's always just, who is this? Who's the person? Yeah.
Right.
Always.
You're doing homework. You want to call a cop and go, hey, can you run this guy? Has he got a record? Like, you're trying to figure out who is actually trustworthy. When tribally, that was never an issue thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
Because the tribe knew you had some sort of adherence to your tribe. One of the big parts of our animal brain is that we will be kicked out of the tribe if we don't have that, right? There are consequences to you not showing up. Who has real consequences today? We don't. We pardon everyone with nothing, unscathed. People don't show up constantly for things that they are supposed to do, and there are no consequences.
I mean, think about to the example we were just talking about of, I miss you, love you, want to see you, and then you just get away with, and I'm making the assumption here that you're not really intentional and you're just saying it, and then you get away with it. Like, there's no consequence to pouring into somebody else. And on the receiving end of that, there's a lot going on. It's, this person sees me, they need me, they want me, we have a friendship, we have a relationship. I'm making all these assumptions about what we have, when in reality, you're just being selfish. You're not being truthful. You're not being intentional. You're being flippant with other people's lives and emotions. And maybe reading into this a little bit too much sometimes, but if this goes on long enough, that's your characteristic. And there are no consequences to that.
Right.
And then when you do finally say something or, ghost them in return, whatever, it's, more often than not, that person is like, yo, what the hell? And then like they try to flip it on you.
And what's the big deal? Why are you overreacting? Why are you taking this personally? Because
take ownership of your bullshit.
Too many wanksters, not enough gangsters.
Boom. There's the title.
You know what I mean? It's just, come on. Where have all there was that song, I tell my wife, we joke about it. Like, where have all the cowboys gone? Like,
what was her name? What was
I forgot, but it goes, where have all
the cowboys gone?
Yeah, it's like a typical 90s like pop song, but just the people that showing up really mattered. Like having a sense of character and wishing. It's the idea out in the external world is, I would rather be respected than liked. I want my family to like me. Really, I do. But in the outside world, I want people to respect me. Because that's my reputation.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? That I would rather the world respect me and see me as someone. See, to me, respect is an integration of three things: love, admiration, and just a little fear. Because, sometimes people are like, what do you mean fear? It's not being abundant, all this stuff. Guys, we're 2/3 animal. Our brain is 2/3 animal. Lizard, ape, and then we get to be a human. Sorry. The majority of us make decisions based off some sort of fears. The world cannot not have them. We need them. They keep things in line. They're like the bumpers.
Oh, absolutely.
For like when kids go bowling, right? They just help us stay there. And if someone respects you, they should love you, right? Admire you in some way, and also know that, hey, if I don't do this person right, there may be consequences. And I'm not saying everything, needs to go to that level, but just in a place where, what if a consequence it is, if I don't do something to you, I sever just the relationship with you. That I covet our relationship that much that fear keeps me from not showing up in a certain way. What's wrong with that?
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're very accurately describing the model, the situation, the relationship that I had with my father. There was so much love and admiration, just the right amount of fear.
Yes.
And I mean, my dad never laid a hand on me, but I always knew that whatever the consequences were, they were at a level that I feared them.
Yes.
But it was always love, admiration, and then just so much respect because of that fear was enough to just keep that line going. Absolutely.
For sure, dude. Whatever happened to the greatest thing a mother could ever tell a kid to get him in line? I'm going to tell yo daddy.
Wait till your dad gets home.
And then when, like, you saw the car pull up, you're like, please, Mom, I won't do it again. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Don't tell this guy.
I mean, like, think back. Everybody listening, like, go back and think back about your childhood. Like,
tell your daddy. My dad was in jail. Okay.
Shit.
And he would call every Tuesday collect at 4:30. And if I was bad, I still begged this guy was incarcerated 10 states away. I would still beg her just to not get the verbal reprimand that day. Just please don't tell daddy. I will fix this.
There you go.
Don't tell him that I did whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Don't tell him that I was hitting golf balls in my yard and just crush my neighbor's windows like a jerk. I'll do anything you want.
Damn.
Just don't tell daddy. Right? Like there is none of that. And then no wonder there's so much chaos or disorder and lack of that right now. And that's what our society looks like. And so also for me, that's why I push so much towards this better embodiment of masculine energy and understanding and accepting it and not trying to wish it away or use terms like toxic, where there's toxic femininity, which really is mental health disorder.
Okay. Yeah.
If people really wanted to break it down, I would venture to say this world would be better off without toxic femininity than toxic masculinity.
Interesting.
I would rather have a bully outside of me than my bully inside of me.
There's a great analogy. I can get on board with that. Yeah.
Because I could move away from the bully outside of me if worse came to worse.
We're always going with ourselves. Yeah, absolutely. You can't escape that. And the more you try, the bigger the bully gets internally.
Right.
Wow.
So for me, you want to know where I sit on the fence, right? And I'm not saying this is men or women, because men obviously have mental health issues. I'm bringing this back to this idea of frequencies of just energy dynamics, which we broke down earlier, which was self and the external world.
Angelo, one other question comes to mind, man. This has been so great having you here, just kind of breaking down this definition of the masculine self and hopefully kind of calling some attention to and bringing awareness to guys out there and women as well. Guys and women listening, for the men and women in your life, if that's not you, I think there's some great value to be had here.
For sure.
So when we're talking, all the things we've been talking about, and we've mentioned this word a few times, and that's model. So when we're talking about creating a more in tune, a more aware masculine model, is it really that simple of collectively working towards a model that all men can, dare I even say, should follow? Or is it just every man has to create a model for themselves? Is there a one that we all should be striving for? Or is it super individual, or maybe a blend?
All right. What a great question. Fundamentally, at its highest level, that thing I just walked everyone through earlier, the opportunity, awareness, moving through all that is there. How you do it, how long you stay there, the style, that's all an expression. I exhibited a certain way, you do it right. The whole thing is about becoming unapologetically, authentically you. So, how you will express it will be different than mine. The dance to get there, though, the journey to get there, to heaven, or just our idea of heaven on earth, that beautiful alignment, is all the same. So imagine that we all go to the train station. All the trains are going to the same place. You just go on the train that's playing the movie and serving the drinks that you like more.
I like the sound of that.
Right? But we're all coaches, humans. We're all trying to go to the same place. Just your vibe, what you feel like, depending on how you grew up, all those kind of things. So, like, I walk around with Versace Biggie glasses because, one, I love Biggie, and two, when I was a young kid growing up in the 90s, 10, 11, 12, 13, that's what all the cool people in their late 20s and 30s were wearing. So that's my idea of
There's
cool.
your model. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
For you, wherever you grew up, whatever style you appreciate, that's cool. I'm not arguing over expression.
Okay.
That is completely individualized and of choice.
Yeah.
Because that's external. I'm talking about the internal path, the internal journey is the same for everyone. How long it takes, the race to the starting line, all of those other things, that's external. That's up for anyone's expression, that's going to be expressed differently.
Yeah.
But those stages that I mentioned, you can't skip any of them. And if you do, you'll be an ultimate doer without feelings, which is, as an entrepreneur, I'm sure you've seen it, lived it. I have. We got really good at doing things, and then we looked around and we forgot our hearts about 2 miles back.
Please say that again. Yeah.
Okay, right? We become great at doing, ultimate doers, taskless killers, Trello board murderers, right? But then you look around and you go, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
Because you forgot your heart.
You just want to burn it all down.
Then there's too many people, or some people, that live so much in their hearts and their thoughts, and they never start. They don't take the action.
Knowers and not doers.
Right.
Doers and not knowers.
Right. And so there's all that exchange to go through, yet we're all looking to get to this place. And so what we need to do will be a little bit different for us. How we express it will be a little bit different than us. Yet that's the recipe.
Well, I can get on board with that recipe, man. Hopefully everybody listening can too, and just realize, like, it's all your own ingredients. You know, it's coming together at your own pace based on your own awareness and how much ownership and radical responsibility you want to take for your life. And in doing so, and I wanted to kind of bring this point up earlier, I just remembered your example of like owning something or not wanting to share it out, not wanting to, like, look at what I did, look at what I accomplished. And I say this with extreme confidence now because in not doing so, I think is one of the greatest disservices to your immediate network, to your immediate community, to the world. Because if you, Angelo, me, Chase, if we are in our truth and doing and creating something that is so abundant and so fulfilling, there is something universal in there. Because you're a man, I'm a man, you're a human, I'm a human. It is a damn shame and a disservice and a disgrace to not share that with the world. Because I guarantee you at least one other person is going to click with that so much, it's going to change their life.
Yeah.
So it's just like, own it for the sake of serving the greater good. The more you work on yourself, the more you own your accomplishments and create the recipe like you're talking, then, like, that spills out. And that's the change that we all need and want.
We talk about a mic drop, baby. You know, you should want to share your party trick.
Yeah.
Right? Like, my son, every time he learns something new, so right now it's jumping. He's 1.5 years old. He's figuring out how to jump. He cannot wait to get my attention and show me that he could jump. No one had to tell him to do that. But then one day, not me, because I'm going to put gasoline on there. I'm like, dude, how long are we sitting here for? 4 hours? Cool, keep jumping. But, like, someone may go, stop showing off. Stop doing that to a little young person.
that's not cool. That's not important. I don't have time for that. Imagine what that's really doing there.
And so many of us have done that. You know what this brings up one great point. Men oftentimes, when I speak with them, have a hard time connecting with their feminine because it was shunned early on in life. And here's a really good example. I embrace art. I embraced it as a child, drawing and stuff like that, and then kind of left it alone because I didn't feel, I wasn't taught that was cool or masculine, or someone judged my art. Like you went to art class, you drew something, and the teacher was like, "That's crap."
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, your heart was told it was crap. How you express yourself is crap. How you connect to your innermost beauty, your creator's crap. Like when people are like, "Yeah, you're a bad dancer," I'm like, wait, this is between me and the music. Beat it, geek.
Dude, same. I am that white guy out on the dance floor. No rhythm. But I love it. I love it. It's just like, you can't tell me that what I'm doing and gives me so much joy and fulfillment and release is anything other than amazing. Like, screw off.
Yeah, that's why most guys don't dance. I'm like, yeah, dude, beat it. I don't care what this looks like. Got the armpits everywhere. You know what I mean? Full of sweat. Just living my life.
I think that's why my Persian in-laws accepted me so much, because I may not know what I'm doing, but I'm out there with them until 3 o'clock in the morning.
Laugh. Yeah. And that oftentimes for men, that labeling early on in their life stops them from going into that inner woman that's inside all of us, that creator, that art, that artist. And that's something that I really hope gets removed more and more. And I encourage men to then, discover that artistic part of you, that creator, that connector, food, just whatever that is. Because the more you're in touch with that, it's easier then to actually get in touch with yourself.
Yeah. Any situation where you can take nothing and create something.
Yes.
Like the perfect example, in the kitchen with food, on a piece of paper with a watercolor, with a pencil, like any situation where you can start with nothingness and create anything.
Yes.
Like, bro, I promise you there's a carryover into every other area of your life. Absolutely.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well, Angelo, man, this has been great.
Appreciate you.
I love your insight. I love your perspective, and I love everything you and the whole crew are doing down at Alpha Hippie. And I'm going to make sure to link my episode with you guys and everything, all the work that you're doing down there. Everybody's going to find out more about. So I got one final question for you, man.
Please.
And I think it's very, very in tune here with what you're doing. And it's, you've been talking about how we can do things to have awareness and then to advance. And that's exactly what I mean when I say live a life ever forward. So I'm curious, how does that fall on you today, man? What does that mean to you? How do you live a life ever forward?
Be a witness so you could do awareness. Without it, there is no forward. That's it. Be a witness of yourself so you could have awareness, and then you have a chance to move ever forward.
Love it. Love that, man. Yeah. It's like sometimes the biggest things we need to hear or we do hear are just nothing more than they need to be. And that's what it was for me, man. So thank you.
Appreciate you.
Like I said, we're going to have all your information down in the show notes and video notes for everybody. But where can they go to learn more about you, connect with you online? What are you doing these days?
Sure. Everything is under I Am Alpha Hippie. And truth be told, I'm not a much Instagrammer. But if you need me, Angelo Sisco, I repost a lot of the podcast stuff or something that I really find funny.
Yeah.
I just I put like a funny hashtag. Guys,
it's for you. It's for you.
It's for me. It's funny. I love to just, smoke a joint, go grocery shopping, and just laugh at stuff. I'll be truthful, okay, and or find funny things in the world. I want to laugh and smile as much as I can because it's better than just being a frowner.
Seriously, it's miserable. Like biochemically, it's not good for you.
I appreciate you so much for having me here in
my
your
pleasure.
beautiful home and
My pleasure, man.
sharing me with your beautiful audience.
My pleasure, and we'll have to reconnect soon, man. You got some big things in the works, and once they're done, we'll have to do it upright again.
Looking forward to it.
All right, man.